สวัสดีครับ I'm Point from ค้นพบ Today in my other page, my coaching page, Thrive with Point, I talked about how really from one perspective, it could be said that we only ever experience stress, we only ever produce feelings of anxiousness or anxiety, concerns, overthinking, overworrying, fears and phobias in relation to situations where we believe and perceive that we are not in control of. Now, the key word here is believe and perceive, because this is not about your actual capabilities. This is not about your true power or potential, which I guarantee you is much, much higher than you may realize right now, and I know that may be hard to believe. So what this shows is that in any domain of life, in any situation or type of dynamic, a relationship situation, a financial situation, a health situation, a work situation, right? Perhaps you have to deal with a mean, tough boss, a insincere coworker who you don't know if you can trust them or not, right? You see, we only ever create feelings of stress, anxiety, anxiousness, worries, and concerns if we believe and perceive that we would not be able to control and manage that situation effectively. Now, control and manage means or includes two main things. It means directly controlling outside factors, right? It's a skill set in solving a problem or handling a situation. But not everything in life can go the way that we want, correct? Because we can't always control everything. I can't control the weather. I can't control the pandemic. I can't control the economy or the politics, right? Things are bound to go wrong. That's the nature of life. However, what I can still always control, or at the very least what I can learn to control effectively, is myself, how I respond, my perspectives, my beliefs and attitudes, my emotions. I can always learn to teach myself, teach my brain, my mind, that no matter how challenging the situation would be, I'm still always in control because I can always predict how I would cope with, tolerate, manage, and respond to my own emotions, you see. Somebody who has that skill set, that capability, we could predict is much less likely to produce stress, worries, anxieties, panic attacks, fears, and phobias. Right? So I mentioned that in my coaching page in today's video, but I want to dive deeper a bit here in ค้นพบ. Now, I ended that video in my coaching page, so be sure to check it out if you have time, but I'll summarize it here anyways. I also ended in that video clip by saying how one way to develop your own control skills, if we can call it that, control skills and coping skills. Now, I use these words to refer to our ability to handle a situation and also handle our own emotions and responses, okay? In order to develop that capability, that skill, you have to get perspective on the situation first. That, okay, you may be faced with a difficult challenge. It may be producing, difficult emotions. But emotions, thoughts, and feelings aren't gonna kill you. Stay with it. Watch it. Tolerate it. Cope with it. Don't react yet. Just watch it. Accept it. Once you're able to do that, and the more you train yourself to do this, or the more you train yourself to respond in this similar kind of way, you're essentially teaching your mind that these things cannot truly harm you. Therefore, you are more powerful than it is. Therefore, you are in control. At the very least, you're in control of yourself. You might not be in control of what happens around you, but you're in control of yourself. And that's good enough. From that position, you then have a choice. A choice will then arise. And that choice is going to reveal itself to you as a more helpful way to respond to the situation. You will realize that, okay, you might not be able to control everything. You might not be able to control all outside circumstances, right? I can't control the weather. I can't control the COVID-19 pandemic. I can't control the economy. I can't control the politics, right? I can't control whether or not I'll get into a car accident if I go out for lunch after making this video. I mean, to some extent I can, but there'll still be some assumed level of risk, correct? But what I can always control is how I choose to respond. Do the best with what I've got. Do the best that I can in that moment. And accept what is. An individual who starts to learn to respond to life's challenges and difficulties, even in situations where they had previously feared, really, really bad, is teaching their own mind a new pathway of response, if I may put it that way. Empowerment starts to happen. Learning starts to take place. Growth is happening for that individual. Okay? So that's one way to do it. But what I want to add to that video is to talk about how meditation or mindfulness can help develop these skills, these coping skills. Because in meditation, when you're just sitting there, trying to stay in the present moment, say if you practice by placing your attention on the rising and falling of your stomach with each and every in-breath and out-breath, inhale, exhale, as your anchor point of attention, and try to watch what happens. Sooner or later, you'll watch your mind drift off. Your mind will think about that coworker that you might not like, that you might hate, your ex-boyfriend, your ex-girlfriend. You might think about how you felt betrayed before. You were wronged. You might be thinking about the big presentation that you have to deliver at work next week and how that might cause you to worry or feel concerned because of the pressure from work, the pressure to perform at work, right? And try to pull your attention back to your stomach. Eventually, what you begin to realize is you begin to realize two important things. Number one is that the thinking that your mind produces, the thoughts that your mind produces, comes from a certain habit that you have. It's just a belief system. For example, if I believe that I would not be able to cope with the news that I was diagnosed with a health issue, with a serious health issue, if I believe that I could not cope, then I would recognize in my meditation that I keep producing the types of thoughts, the types of thinking that has a narrative of feeling fearful and afraid in relation to health issues. For example, maybe I'll find that a thought drifts out that, oh my God, I've been sleeping really late the past week. It's going to be really unhealthy and I don't want to get a health issue if I sleep late many nights in a row. I was eating junk food the other day. I don't want to get fat because that's going to drive up my cholesterol. Right? You'll notice these types of thoughts come up. And you'll begin to put together, through this self-awareness, objective observation of your own mind, without judging it, just watching it, just staying with it. You'll begin to realize that, wait a minute, this must reflect some belief system that I currently hold about a certain situation in life. And if I just watch it mindfully, if I realize that I feel afraid, recognize it as fear. If I realize that I don't like the thoughts that are coming up, recognize that you don't like the feeling, right? Maybe you're thinking negative thoughts about how if you were to be diagnosed with a serious illness and you feel very negative and fearful and afraid. Maybe you're thinking about that coworker, that colleague that you hate and that you don't like it. Okay, recognize it, watch it, don't judge it. An interesting thing starts to happen is those thoughts start to lose its weight, lose its strength, lose its pull. Because meditation, just sitting with yourself and watching what happens in your mind, right? Then pulling your attention back to the anchor point, such as your stomach. Then you'll drift off and watching again what happens. You begin to develop coping skills. Because in the initial phases, in order to watch these emotions and thoughts objectively, it requires you to be able to put up with it, to cope with it, to tolerate it, to confront it mindfully in a non-judgmental way. Your mind then begins to learn that these thought patterns, these emotions, will come, stay for a while, and they'll go. They can change form, change into another emotion. Maybe it's anger at your coworker, then hate becomes fear. And also you begin to recognize that these emotions cannot kill you. It could then be said that this practice helps to develop our emotional self-awareness skills. It is a byproduct of meditation practice. You begin to become more tolerant, more able to tolerate and cope with your own negative thoughts, emotions, and you can watch them objectively. And you may not like what your mind is saying, you may not like the emotions, but in the background, there's some sense of peace. Why? Because there's a gap. There's a gap between those emotions and you. Because you're just watching it mindfully here. You're just seeing your emotions here. You're just watching it mindfully here, objectively, like a scientist. And you begin to train your mind that you can respond to these emotions in a different way. You don't have to react to them, which only serves to make the situation worse, which only serves to make those emotions stronger, which only serves to feed more of the similar thoughts that keep you locked in fear, that keep you locked feeling that you cannot control the situation or yourself. Now, I borrow this analogy of the gap from many of the meditation teachers I follow because I really like the way they describe it. It really does feel like that in that sense. It feels like there's some room of safety. There's some space where this objectivity, objective watching, gets you to recognize that you're not going to die, that it's not going to kill you, and that you can make peace with it eventually. And that's a very powerful skill set to cultivate. And I want to add that on top of my coaching video this week. So again, we only ever create stress, anxiety, worry, fears, phobias, and panics in relation to situations where we feel that we cannot control it, and more importantly, that we cannot control, manage, and predict our own emotions, that we cannot handle our own emotions. Meditation develops that emotional management skills, that acceptance skills, the skills to respond but not react. Response is power. Reaction is powerlessness. Okay? Respond, not react. And meditation will open that door of possibility for you. But I understand in the beginning it may feel challenging. You may feel impatient, you may feel frustrating, you may feel negative because the emotions come up. Because you're producing them by the way that you're thinking about the situation. They come up because you are producing them by the way that you're thinking about it, perceiving it, and believing it. But once you begin to recognize that, you begin to develop self-awareness more. And the path towards transcending that fear, transcending that place in your life where you've been struggling with or feel incapable of handling previously, you begin to feel more capable, more confident, more reassured, more calm, and more skillful in your ability to manage it, should it have to happen again. And that's where learning takes place on a deeper level. That's where self-awareness starts to really grow in you. And I think that is I wanted to present the benefits of meditation in this way, in this video, because it teaches us the power of non-reactivity. Okay, so mindfulness is the way. I hope this was valuable for you. I hope this video shed some light on what's going on here, and I encourage you to begin the practice and continue to learn along with me. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out my video on my coaching page if you have time. I will see you next time. สวัสดีครับ